Hello and welcome back for another Brain Coach tip. I'm Jan Bedell, the Little Giant Steps Brain Coach. Thank you for being proactive and open to anything that can help your child be more successful in life and in school. Today we're going to talk about behavioral root causes that are outside of the child's typical ability to change it. In other words, it's not a sin nature. It has to do with development and maybe the chemistry of the body. Now, from a neurodevelopmentalist perspective, there are several things that can cause behavior issues. Let's start with one that might not be as obvious to most people. I know you've probably had this experience when you're disciplining your child or you're wanting them to pay attention to you, you ask them to look at you. You say, "Look at me when I'm talking to you." Now, oftentimes the fathers really get upset and there's added tension when this doesn't happen, when they look at you for a few seconds and then they just kind of look off like they're looking over your shoulder. You might even think that they are intentionally disobeying when they're not looking at you straight in the eye. A root cause may be their poor central detail vision. It may not be working well. What I mean by this is they see more peripherally and they don't see things right in the center. A symptom of this could be missing words when they're reading along, especially small words, and not being able to write on a line. This might give you another clue. They're not just intentionally not writing on the line, they just can't see it well. And this can be viewed as behavioral too, because you told them to write on the line, but they're not doing it. I even had a really smart young man that was gifted in understanding math concepts. He was failing his math class because of this poor central vision. He was always missing his problems because he had a hard time distinguishing the signs. He would add where he was supposed to multiply and vice versa. Because he understood math, his parents just thought he wasn't trying and he was just being lazy. There was a lot of conflict in the home over this, but it changed the dynamics of the home when the parent understood this root cause. Poor central detail vision is a developmental issue and can be improved with some simple activities. It doesn't require a visit to the optometrist, although it's often good to visit the eye doctor to make sure the acuity is right. They can see up close and see far away. But the help for the central vision is spelled out in the NeuroDevelopmental DVD. This NeuroDevelopmental DVD that you'll find on littlegiantsteps.com is an excellent way not only to learn about the central detail vision, but some of the other things I'm going to talk about, and find the root causes of the struggles that the individual is experiencing. Like, for instance, following directions. This can be huge for the parent when the child just continually does not do what he's asked to do, especially if there's 2 or 3 or 4 things that the parent has asked him to do. There could be a couple of root causes for this inability. One of the causes is tonal processing. This means that the child their ears are working, they're hearing, but the brain is not interpreting those things correctly, those sounds. So they're mishearing what's said, and oftentimes they give you a blank stare when you've asked them to do something because they're still trying to figure out what it is you're actually said, or they just go do something that they thought you said and it wasn't what you said, and of course that's going to cause conflict. So tonal processing is one of the things that can cause issues. The auditory sequential processing is another one, holding all those pieces together. That means something said and you hold the first and second and third thing together. Another thing that you might interpret as a behavior issue that's really a developmental one is the child's ability to stay on task. You've asked them to do some work and they just seem to keep getting distracted all the time. This can cause conflict as they're not doing what you ask them to do. But this could be from their low auditory processing. The ability to stay on task is directly related to their auditory processing, which is measured by a simple test called a digit span. When you find out what processing ability your child has through digit span tests, you will know that this is related to their age up to age 7. So if they're 7 or above, they should be able to do 7 digits. So you can see if a 12-year-old can't focus and they have a digit span of 5, it could be because they're developmentally more like a 5-year-old. Now this doesn't mean their intelligence is off or something's wrong with them. It's just that this area of development has not developed and they just act like younger children. If you see some of these behavioral issues, I want to encourage you to get the free test kit at littlegiantsteps.com. On the home page, you just click on free test kits and they'll send them to you in an email. It's often a process of elimination as you have a child that has behavioral issues, and this is one way to get that out of the way to see if that's one of the causes. And then it will also give you something to do about it. You know, sometimes children have hypersensitivities and they act out in noisy environments. This means they're hypersensitive to sound and they just get antsy and they get anxious and they can't behave correctly just because of the overload of the environment. And sometimes they just turn off their auditory system because it's too painful, and you'll call them and call them and call them, and you'll think they're not, they're just not being obedient, and you might even think they're being obstinate and not answering to their name, when it really is this hypersensitivity. Now, to find out more about that, I want to encourage you to listen to a podcast that I did entirely on this subject of hypersensitivity. It's podcast number 20, and the title is Stop Overreacting. It's Not That Loud. Well, it's not that loud to you, but if they have this issue, it's definitely loud to them. Let's say your issue is a child that's acting very immature. They're acting like a younger child. They're not able to be age appropriate in taking care of responsibilities like feeding the dog and taking out the trash. There's also potential for conflict when they can't remember everyday tasks like brushing their teeth and making their bed. You feel like you're a broken record, and it's hard to understand how a child that age just doesn't get it. Yes, chronologically, they are that particular age, but developmentally, maybe not. The root cause of this is that auditory processing, going back to that, holding the pieces together and being able to see the big picture and remember things. As you can see, there are lots of ill effects from low auditory processing. So I'm encouraging you to get the test kit, but not only get the test kit, work on it every day, or at least 5 days a week. You're going to do this twice for only 2 minutes, and you will watch the improvement. It will be amazing, and the conflicts over these kinds of things will just melt away. The test kit gives you the resources to help you accomplish these auditory sessions easily and successfully. In addition to these possible neurodevelopmental challenges, I have continually seen children with behavior problems because of the chemistry of their body. It's just not working well. When a child has allergies or gut issues, they just don't feel well. You know yourself that when you don't feel good, your ability to cope cheerfully with challenges goes way down. The same's true for our children. In the past, all I've had to offer to change the chemistry was to suggest diet changes. This often stopped very much short of resolving things like allergies and these gut issues that many children are experiencing. Poor chemistry can have a profound negative effect on your brain. We're truly wonderfully and fearfully made, but if there is interference from a variety of sources in our environment or gut issues causing malabsorption of nutrients, then the brain's function is compromised. This causes an added stress to the individual's system and can result in foggy thinking, poor sleep quality, and when you don't sleep well, you don't handle things well either. It can cause sensory issues, allergies, as well as irritability and lack of initiative in doing schoolwork. When you add this to developmental challenges that we already talked about, you often multiply the negative effects resulting in poor behavior. After years of searching for help in this area for my clients, God has supplied me with the second treasure of my life, the first being the NeuroDevelopmental Approach. So if you or someone you know is having issues with their immune system, please encourage them to set up a free metabolic consultation. In this setting, I can get to know your situation and see if this treasure is something that can help you. When we eliminate the metabolic stressors, everything works better, and this could be one of the root causes of behavioral challenges that you're dealing with. Just click on Metabolic Consult on the homepage at littlegiantsteps.com, and we'll start the process of scheduling that free consult for you. One of my goals is to work myself out of a job before it's time to retire. To do this, I must equip you as parents with solutions for learning and behavioral challenges. One way to educate folks is to provide a newsletter. I want to encourage you to sign up for the newsletter on the homepage at littlegiantsteps.com to get the neurodevelopmental tips. Little Giant Steps also has free articles and tremendous resources available, and if you're driving or not able to write down the phone number that I gave you earlier, that's 972-758-1260. If you can't write that down, just go to the Little Giant Steps website and click on Contact Us. You'll find the number there as well. Or you can email your questions to office@littlegiantsteps.com. Now, if you have a preschooler that you want to be proactive in providing the developmental steps we've talked about, check out the Early Learning Foundations programs or the preschool and kindergarten mini programs on the Little Giant Steps store. Each neurodevelopmental activity is taught, as all of our in-home programs are taught, via web training, so you know exactly how to do each activity with your child. Since the mini programs are taught over the internet, it makes the information available worldwide. That's all the time I have for today. I hope that I have assisted you in your journey toward understanding how you can help your child be more successful with their behavior. If you make it a priority to use the tips I've given you or the specific programs to enhance brain function, your child's experience in life and at home will be much more pleasant. Don't forget about the free metabolic consults that are available, and you can follow me on Pinterest for more ideas that align with the neurodevelopmental approach. I am Jan Bedell Brain Coach. We also have great questions and answer opportunities on Facebook. So please stay tuned to braincoachtips.com, where you will receive more brain-enhancing tips to make life and learning easier. In the meantime, visit our sponsor, littlegiantsteps.com. They are dedicated to equipping you as parents so that your children can reach their full potential. Remember, neurodevelopment is a dynamic approach to life at any age, so think differently. The solution is not in the problem. Until next week, it's the Brain Coach signing off.